Well, New York is, how many hours do I have? Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like just the characters of the people that grow up in New York City, like we have this very tough exterior.
It's great to have like a whole bunch of different cultures combined, which is what's great about the Bronx. But then you also got the dangers.
And New York means a lot for me. It's where I really learn how to see the world.
It's like the Hunger Games, but survival. You're trying to survive every day in the Bronx.
Anyone who like comes to the city like knows that like it's for opportunity.
You know, here in the Bronx, I mean, on my block, there are people from, 25 different countries, from all over Africa, all over the Middle East, parts of Asia. It's still, my grandparents came here 100 years ago, and it was this incredible melting pot, and it's still this incredible melting pot. My name is Mike Kamber, and I'm the founder of the Bronx Documentary Centre. This is the BDC, this is the Bronx Documentary Centre, and I'm a photographer. I've been a photojournalist and documentary photographer for about 35 years. I covered the Civil War in Liberia in the early 2000s, and while I was there I met Tim Hetherington, who became my roommate, one of my closest friends, and Tim was a British photographer. He was actually with the rebels, with the insurgents, and I was with the government troops, and they were sort of, there was daily fighting. And after the war we got together and we kind of dreamed this place up. Tim was working with a lot of young photographers in West Africa. I was training and helping out some young photographers in Baghdad, and we kind of thought, wouldn't it be great if there was just a nonprofit where it didn't cost a lot of money, where people could come and learn photography. And photography changed my life. It changed Tim's life. We completely were transformed by it in a positive way, and we wanted to spread that. And it shouldn't cost a lot of money. There's a lot of places where you can get a degree if you've got $50,000 a year or whatever. Here it's free, and we thought we could start something in the community. Tim unfortunately was killed in 2011. We were still kind of planning the place out, and some friends came and just said, let's just start that place up, and this is it, it's the Bronx Documentary Centre. I left conflict zones in 2011, 2012. I stopped doing conflict photography, and as I started the Bronx Documentary Centre and we grew, I stopped doing that. But to some degree, the Bronx is a conflict zone. There's a lot of our students have witnessed a lot of violence. We have to remember, 99% of the people in the Bronx are hardworking immigrant families who are changing this country for the better. But there's always that 1%, and there's too many guns around, and we've had a lot of shootings.
Before I started taking photographs out here, I did not like taking pictures at all in the Bronx. I was very into this pleasing aesthetic that I wanted to portray through my photographs. So I would go to Manhattan or pretty places in a sense. Through being here, I was more exposed to just the rawness and the realness of photography. Not over editing to make it look nice, just capturing what's there in front of me, showing the transparency of what life is for me, not for anyone else. I lost a friend due to gun violence, and I would remember I would always just be in the darkroom. It became a therapy for me. Seeing the pictures develop in front of me, or just the process, I feel I fell in love with. It's all about patience, trial and error, and I feel that relates to life in a sense. When you're in the darkroom, nothing else matters. You're only focused on what's in front of you, and it was just very therapeutic for me.
There were photojournalists who would come up here for a day, and they would take really negative photos of the Bronx, gangs and violence and drugs. And they were ignoring like all the beautiful families that live here and all the positive stuff that happens here. And when the people in the community tell their own story, you get a much fuller picture, and you see all the positivity, you see the beauty, you see the potential, you see the greatness of the community.
Something that like I've been learning to tell is just stories of the youth in the Bronx. I feel like for me, like I have a lot of young men that are in my life, and because of like so much stuff that has happened already, I feel like it's very important for me to tell their story before it's too late, in a sense. And I don't want to tell their story in a way that's like gruesome. I want to tell it for the happiness. Because of course, like the news portrays like people's stories one way, and then we remember people in another way. So I feel like that's very important to me, like to like just highlight people's lives in a sense. I love to shoot in black and white. I feel like we see everything in color. So I feel like when you photograph in black and white, it's kind of like a new reality that we don't see. And it takes away like everything else. Color doesn't matter, saturation doesn't matter, it's just what's in front of you.
You have to remember, a lot of children, in particular today, have never done anything with their hands. They grew up on cell phones, so they're computer literate, but they've actually never made anything. They've actually never built anything. Our students are affected in so many other positive ways, through photography, through personal expression, making prints, learning to do things with their hands, learning to develop film. I mean, it's just completely transformational.
One photo of one of my old friends, Cardona, he was really older than me. He was homeless and he used to live on the streets. He passed away though when the COVID pandemic hit. He was not like the homeless people that are typically stereotyped as like crazy, or like they're gonna be mad at you if you say no to them. He never begged. That's one thing, he never begged. People will always see him, say hi. He's a neighborhood friend. He would never ask for anything, but people would give him food and stuff, which that was great. I took a photo of him close up in the face. Trying to develop that was challenging, because in the dark room, his eyes, I was trying to make them pop out, and it would just come out dark. So I had to use a tool to like hover over the eyes as the light is going on the paper. It's called dodging and burning. So I had to use that technique. It took a couple of tries, but then I ended up with a great print. And then I submitted that print to the Scholastic Awards. And then his photo won the gold key, and he got hung. I was so happy because he passed away and I just wanted him to live on. His story, yeah, so he was in the museum and I was really happy. It's important to have prints. Prints specifically, not digital copies, because you work for it. You're actually working for it. And it's the memories that live on.
There's nobody who doesn't have a great story inside them, but are they given what they need to tell that story in a way that is powerful, that is visual, that affects people? You know, I think that's what we're trying to do at the Bronx Documentary Centre, is these are your tools, and you can, if you have an idea in your head, and they all do, well, here's the way that you express it, here's the way you tell the story. You know, there's a beginning, a middle, and end. You can do flashbacks, you can be very creative. It doesn't have to be completely linear. It can be, you know, there are many different ways to tell a story, but we're going to give you the building blocks. We're going to give you the tools to tell that story.
You know, people say that I'm really good with portrait. I really like to connect with people, especially photographing with a large format, that it takes a lot, you know, a very slow process to photograph.
I gave Jesus a 4x5 camera. We had an old speed graphic. I mean, the camera's almost 100 years old.
This camera was donated to the BDC, and it was very damaged.
I mean, it barely worked, complete. It was a wonderful camera, but just beat to whatever.
The problem that I had, it was in the bellow, so I fixed the bellow. I started photographing it, and it was perfect. So eventually my family asked me to go to Puerto Rico for Christmas.
And we brainstormed, and he said, you know, I think I want to do a project on all the schools that are closing down, because a lot of people have been fleeing Puerto Rico, unfortunately, because of you know, economic reasons and others.
So I went to the place, I went to the site, and when I saw the situation, I was like, this is perfect for large format, because the whole space, the whole school was like vandalized. It's like the walls were broken, the windows were out, like it was perfect for this kind of stuff. So I called my friends in that moment, you know, that we went to the school with, and my teachers, and we did a project in there. So I asked them, like, listen, what do you think about the abandoned? What do you think about the school? And what do you think should be done here instead of abandoning? And that was the proposal on that project. And it was successful. It was very good.
And it was printed in the New York Times. You know, this guy's, he just picked up this camera and he's taking these pictures. They're unbelievable. They're just so powerful.
It ain't kind of having an impact in Puerto Rico. Like the authorities in Puerto Rico, they save it. They kind of saved the school because of my project. So I feel very, very happy about it.
And it's a wonderful combination. Being good with people and understanding composition and framing and light. I mean, unbeatable, yeah.
So why black and white? There's a lot of information that is taken away from the picture, and you only concentrate on the subject. But for me, it was magical, because before that, it was all digital. And when I saw the magical thing of printing with chemicals, I was like amazed about it. Like, first of nothing, it made me feel like I'm a scientist. You know, like I kind of like put together things and think about, you know, the process. And also as a chef, because I had to cook a film and a product. But it's more like, it made me connect more into my stills, you know, into my photograph, and I think that's a very valuable thing. I like features, I like ideas, I like life stories, you know, and I think photography bring me that opportunity to connect with other people and know about their life.
I feel like it's important for people to print their work, because we live in this digital era. We scroll through like Instagram posts all the time. We see it for like, what, 5 seconds, and then we'll forget it. For me, like, I love tangible things. I remember books that I've held in my hands, not like e-books. It's very different. It has like a smell to it, like a touch to it, and I feel like people should print their work, because people are gonna read these things, you know, and I feel like it's just to be in history. I feel like it's really important.
My art, I want to find a way to help the world, because the BDC with their stories, as you can see that there was an exhibition here, they have been influencing people on how to think differently. So photography has opened up my world. Mike has changed my way, my mentality, and I'm ready to carry that mentality through all my life.
You know, we're on this earth a limited amount of time, and we have to try to leave it a little better than how we came in. You know, I think education, art, creativity, expression, I mean, there's a lot of negativity in the world, and we need to fight back with positivity. You know, we need to fight back with beauty. You know, we put up exhibitions, you know, a lot of our exhibitions are outdoors, and our neighbors stop and look at them and they smile. You know, just putting a picture up on a wall where people can see it, or, you know, giving somebody a book and seeing the smile on their face, especially through photography, it's life-changing, you know, and we've got to keep trying to push the positive things in this world.